I'm not going to go into the trees. I don't want to go into any areas where deer could be bedding. I'm just going to hike a trail here. I'm looking more for crossings. And yeah, like I got to get down and look at my trail cameras, because when I set them up, I put up 2 cameras with dead batteries. So I gotta get batteries in them. My cameras that I put up, they're gonna be in place till probably April or so. So it'll be 2 months. Don't really know what I'm gonna get, but anything I get. It's not really very cold today. It's -8, but it's pretty windy. But anyway, okay, let's go for a walk. Here's something here. Buck rub from November. Not much of a rub, just a little willow, but that's good. It's a good crossing area right here. Here's a spot here. A huge old poplar fell, cleaned out the fence. Makes for a nice, easy crossing spot for the deer, and there's a little trail across here. One thing about it, the deer, they always follow the lay of the land. They follow the high spots, and if you want to take an easy hike through the bush, you follow the deer trail, because they'll take you on the easiest route to the bush every time. The trail that I'm on is cut line through the bush. I think this one is oil pipeline. This coyote track pretty much following the line all the way. All the deer, they're just crossing the line. There's another deer trail here. Another one coming off that angle, side by each. And we're just somewhere in the middle of Alberta. February 3rd. Nice day for a walk in the bush. Wind's really howling. Haven't run on any game yet. There's moose, elk, whitetail in here, wolves, a lot of coyotes. All the bears, of course, and a lot of black bears. But no chance of seeing any of them today. Better chance of winning the lottery. Here's an elk rub. It could possibly be moose, but you see how high up that's going? That's almost certainly an elk. The top of that rub's 8 feet high. There's some other elk rubs I saw yesterday that I'll shoot a video of when we get to them, but when I saw them yesterday, my camera battery had run out, so couldn't videotape them. Another good deer trail coming across right ahead of us. So being Captain Obvious here, but besides the lay of the land, like when you follow a deer trail, well, the odds that you run into a deer, they just went up 70, 80%, because you're traveling where the deer's traveling. Good trail across here. Yeah, there's another trail right here too. Couple trails converging together here, heading down into that bush. So this trail I'm scouting, I looked at it last November when I was out here deer hunting. I didn't have time to explore this, so I'm doing it now. I caught a nice whitetail out of here last year. And I'm hoping to get his daddy this year. So the more I know about this piece of bush, the better. Most of the trails that I'm seeing in here, pretty predictable. They're, you know, as they say, following the ridges, they're right where you expect the deer to be traveling. But I already see a couple of really good stand opportunities on this line for next year. like right here where we are right now. Here's another nice trail coming across. We just went by two others. So there's a group of trails all right in this one spot. Nice crossing area. Okay, here's those elk rubs I was talking about. That guy's 2 feet off the ground, and the top marks on there are almost 7 feet high. Another one here. Another one here. This guy too, if you look, you can see where the tops of these points were hitting, and that's 7 feet up. Real nice, good sign. Elk will always rub a bigger tree than a moose. Deer rub a bigger bloody tree than a moose will. Anyway, that's some elk rubs. Look at this nice little creek flowing down through here. I know that there's a big beaver dam, big beaver pond back up in the bush in behind. This water's flowing out. We're gonna go for a walk and look at that here after I get to my trail cams. Rifle's falling off my shoulder. But here again, where the high bank is, the deer come this way. They take the low land across. I'm gonna too. My cameras are Stealth Cam G42N, and I forgot to put new batteries in this camera, so I'll do that now. Kind of like the cartridge way that the batteries go into these Stealth Cams. They're not a bad camera. I wouldn't rave about them, but they do the job. Best cameras I've ever used, to be honest, are the old Bushnell trophy cams from like 12 years ago. Those old cameras are great. Anyway, now I got to program this bad boy, so I'll set the camera off here. I got that camera back in business, set back up. One thing, the Stealth Cam's got a really easy menu for setting date and time and all that stuff. I do like that. Well, I got one more camera I got to go and get batteries into, and then I'm going to take another wander back up through the bush and go down through that beaver pond, check it out. Found another nice elk rub. Same, the top marks on that tree are 7.5 feet up. That's elk. Yeah, this rub is like 500 yards off or up through the bush from the other one. No other, I don't see any other around this one. Most of the time an elk will rub 2-3 trees all in one spot, but it's just one tree here by itself. That's my old CZ 527, 223 Bushnell 5 to 15 power scope on it. Bushnell Legend, I guess it is. Decent scope. And I weaved that, I made the sling, paracord basket weave. I gotta correct the date. I thought I said earlier it was February 3rd, but it's actually February 4th. Buddy just texted me, and when I grabbed my phone I realized I had the wrong date. important to clarify these things. Well, I got the batteries in the second camera that was dead, so now I'm going to take a walk back up through the bush, take a little bit different route on the way out, see what I find. That's how much the wind's blowing today. I just walked up this trail 20 minutes ago, and my tracks are just blown right in. Crazy. Well, it's been an interesting little scouting trip so far. Found some nice elk rubs from last year, and lots of buck rubs, but no buck rubs worth looking at. All little ones. But I got two dandy spots for stands next year that I'll be hanging the tree in, hanging the summit tree stand in. Well, continuing along here. Cutting up through the bush. I'm going to go into this where this beaver pond is. Decent buck rub here from the fall. Fresh browse from a moose. Another nip there. Browsing on this willow. Been no fresh sign really. It snowed again overnight, so I wouldn't say there's been no sign, but not much. Real windy day. Sometimes I think the game doesn't like to move too much when it's windy like this. Yeah, there's a fresh deer track. That was made last night or this morning. Another fresh travel trail right there. Interesting. Yeah, been a few fresh tracks right through here. There's some real nice trails crisscrossing through this area. The beaver pond's just right in front of us. Let's check this out. And a fair amount of fresh track. More fresh track here again. Oh, these tracks here, they're a couple days in. Snowed in. the split in that old poplar. Wow. It goes up 30 feet. Huh. Look at this here, there's another one. That poplar's got that same kind of split. Same thing. It goes up higher, like 40 feet up that tree. Wonder what the heck is causing that. This lad too. I'll have to ask the last real man. He'll know. He'll know what's doing that. There's a log. Yeah, ambitious. What the heck is the beaver going to do with a poplar that size? Well, you knocked her down. There's our beaver pond. I'm not going to go on that ice, I'll tell you that. I might skirt the dam though. My hand's getting cold. I got to shut this camera off here for a sec. Warm my hand up. Well, I thought I was going to go down and walk across that dam, but the bank here is so steep I can't get down to it. So instead I'm just going to kind of cut back up through the bush and go around the head of the pond up there. It looks like I'll be able to get around her that way. Okie doke. Well, I'm not a fan of tag alders, but son, that's the biggest tag alder I've ever seen. That friggin' thing's 8 inches at the butt. Holy old bald head. That's an old lad. Just on the south side of this beaver pond, still working our way around. And here I am back to my tracks from where I first come down to the pond. Before I found out I couldn't get across it. But it gives me a chance to explore some more. Well, there is one tree. That looks like that could be fairly recent, so yeah, maybe there is still some beavers. That's the only one I've seen though that looks anyways close to fresh. Another fresh chewed tree. A bunch more here. This beaver's crazy now. See the cluster of trees all locked down right in this one spot. That's fresh. All these are. Look at all that. There's 15 trees all just in a big tangle that these beavers have knocked down. I don't know what they're thinking sometimes. That's amazing. And all big stuff. I don't know, maybe they clean out the big stuff so more smaller trees will grow, but look at that tangle of trees. That's something else. Alright, well, let's work our way around this pond here. I think right down there, I think in that area the ice is probably okay to get across. You gotta walk through all this tangle of down logs. Well, there's your answer for why do they knock down a big tree, because he did some pretty heavy gnawing on that one. barber's chair here, how the beavers left this tree. 40 foot high, 50 foot high poplar. All that weight just leaning on that. One of these days she's just gonna open right up. Down she'll come. Well, I made it around the pond. I'm on the north side. Just gonna cut across through the bush and get back to the trail I came in on. One thing about this ravine, there's where I walked across the pond down below there. But this ravine runs up through the bush a long way, and it's a guarantee that you get on up into where it gets narrower and not so, shallower. It's guaranteed to be a beautiful crossing spot in there for deer somewhere. Probably a pretty concentrated trail up the head of that ravine. Another fresh cut beaver tree. Well, there you are. Let's come out of the bush, come around that pond and back to my trail I walked in an hour ago. These tracks look like they're a week old. They're blown right in. Get the zoom, let you get control of the rifle. Well, it was a real good scouting trip. Funny thing, I looked at the topo map of this area, and I put my finger on the map. Pretty much the two spots where I thought the deer would be traveling because of the way these ridges lie. And that's those were the two best. One of them's right here. We're back to the spot where there's like three trails all converging right here. And of course, you got real low ground coming up and behind us. So coming across this kind of saddle area, boom, you got a bunch of trails all joined up. Higher up the trail at the top, where the ridges really fall down toward this bush, there's a couple beautiful trails there following the high ridge. That's the spot I'd probably throw a stand up. In fact, next November pretty much is guaranteed that I'm gonna maybe even get in here in October or September for elk. Yeah, so there's a trail right there. One coming out right back there. Good spot. And see these trails too. And look the way this big beaver pond is here. These are going to travel right down through that bush, straight in toward that ravine I was talking. And they're probably going to go across right in the low spot to that ravine. Pretty much certainty. Alright, shut this off for now. A couple big clumps of moose hair here in the snow. I don't know if you can see that. I was walking along and I just kicked it up with my boots. One thing I got to comment on here. It's February 4th, out in the middle of this Alberta bush. You know how deep the snow is. I mean, That snow's not a foot deep. It might be 8 inches, 7, 8 inches. That's all. So, for a deer, that's a beautiful winter. It's been mild. I think we've seen 28 below. A couple of days. Never lasted more than a day though, that cold weather. Forecast says there's some coming, mind you, but and hardly any snow. Everybody, well, people that have snowmobiles are complaining about it. I'm sure not, because I got no use for snow other than tracking a deer. Anyway, it's real, and there's no crust either, eh? A lot of times you'll have 2 feet of snow in this bush, and you'll have had a couple of thaws form a big, bloody, thick crust. There's sometimes several layers of crust. Not this year. This is all just dry, powdery, dry, powdery snow. Makes for a bit of a trudge. Your feet really slide around in this stuff. Look at my tracks from where I walked in earlier today. They're completely filled in right here from the snow blowing. Here's a fresh deer track going across. And the way this thing came through here, I probably spooked him. Because he trotted through here fast. Cool. Moving it along. Another fresh one. This guy stepped right in my tracks. Nice. There's some deer traveling. Just panning around and look at this snow and looking off. The sun is dropping down. Not sure what time it is, but gotta be close, getting close to 5 o'clock. Okay. Well, I finished my scouting trip, about a 3-hour walk, found some real good trails. Got the last couple of my trail cameras set up with fresh batteries. I'm gonna be leaving the cameras for 2 months probably. Be back here in the spring and have a look at them. Depends on if we get a bunch more snow over the course of the winter, right? How the snow back ends up. But yeah, when the bush is good to travel in a couple of months, I'll come back in here. But I'm not going to come back out again for the next couple of months. Let's go coyote hunting. But I'm not going to come down in here. I've seen what I needed to see. I already had a pretty good lay of the land of this bush anyway. It just kind of verified things to me that I already kind of knew. So that's a wrap for today. Over and out.